Hello, hello, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to Stamp It Up with Jaimie. How's everyone doing tonight? If you're catching this video on my YouTube channel, thanks for tuning in and for watching. I appreciate it. This is my Wednesday night live tutorials that I do Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I do this, well, I try to do it every week, and I'm pretty good about doing that. Tonight I'm featuring a card from the Sale-A-Bration catalog, which means it's free. Yay, for free. And it comes from the Amazing You stamp set. This is a set that is available through the end of March, and it is free with a free $50 order if you so choose to pick it. This is it here. It's kind of fun. It's got some really nice sentiments on it and this kind of like fun starburst almost. But tonight we're going to be using the flower. Hi, Karen. Good to see you tonight. How are you tonight? Oh, I'm chilly. It was so nice out today upstairs that my heat hasn't really turned on. So I'm in my basement and I'm freezing. Have you had nice weather, Karen, where you are? The past couple of days in New York has been gorgeous. Well, as gorgeous as it can be, I guess, in February. I love that set. I just got it. Ooh, yay! I know. I really like it. And tonight we're going to be doing a masking technique. It's pretty simple. Nothing like, completely mind-blowing, but a nice technique. I know that frozen basement feeling. Hi, Jessamine! Hey, I just saw your Facebook post that you saved a person's life today at the ER. I cannot wait to hear the story. Karen says, I'm good. How are you? I'm doing good. I'm good. Life is good. Hey, after being away in Guatemala for a week, it's like I have nothing to complain about. There is not one thing that merits my complaining. It's talk about like a whole new perspective on life. It was beautiful today. Yeah, it certainly was. Ooh, are you in your basement, Jessamine? I'm chilly. If I'm shaking, it's because I'm shivering. Okay, so I'm going to get started. Sorry about that. I'm going to get started and we'll see if anyone else joins us. And if not, hey, we'll just hang out us. So like I was saying, today's card features the Amazing You stamp set. I happen to get the wood blocks, which I never get, but hey, it's a free set. So I was like, yeah, I'll take the wood blocks. So that's what I'm working with tonight. Blankets over the shoulders. I know. I actually was running a little bit late. I was finishing work, like literally up until like 7:20. I finished a report I was working on. And I was like, I came downstairs. I was like, oh, I wish I had time to run back upstairs for a blanket, but I was already kind of running late, so I didn't do it. Hi, Kathy from Michigan. Ooh, where in Michigan are you from? Dan wants you to know he's watching. Hi, Dan. Thanks for watching, bud. Did you have a nice day at school? Was he out were you out on your bike today maybe a little bit? From Michigan. Have I ever been to Michigan? I think I've been to Michigan once, but not a whole lot. Okay, let's get started. My card base today is Pool Party cardstock. It is cut at 4 1/4 by 11, and then I have it scored here right in the middle at 5 1/2. That's our card front. Today's card has lots of layering, which I don't know. If you watch my cards, you know I love layering. If a card doesn't have layers, it just doesn't feel right to me. I am from right in the middle of Lower Peninsula. Oh, very cool. He says he did. He wanted to ride his bike, but Mom was too busy to watch. I hear you, Justin. Ryan, what was it? Not today's Wednesday. Monday, I think he was like, Mom, can I go on my bike? I'm like, Bud, I can't go out and watch it right now. I felt enormous mom guilt. So we can have mom guilt together. Okay, anyways. So there's some subtle layering going on here. You may not be able to tell. Maybe if I open it, you can see it. Do you see the wood grain effect here? I did emboss the card front using where is it? Here it is. The Pinewood Planks embossing folder. It is very subtle, and quite honestly, I don't know if I need it per se, but I just love the effect. And because you are embossed, or I emboss the card front, when you open up the card, the top of it is embossed, which is actually really cool. No triple banner punch again. No, Karen, no triple banner punch tonight. I'm sorry. Maybe I'll have to bring it back next week just for you. I know. I always think of you when I plan my Wednesday night card. So I did emboss it, and I'm going to emboss tonight's too, because I do think it gives a nice effect, even if it's just a subtle one. It is nice, and it just adds a little bit more texture and a little something for the eye to see. This particular embossing folder, the Pinewood Planks embossing folder, is one of our thick embossing folders. And you can feel it. It's like really thick. I know that was really original. Thick embossing folder. And so when you do it, it will have a tendency to crack your paper because it makes such a deep impression into it. So you want to take one of these spritzers, and I have like, I don't know, maybe 1/4 inch of water there, and I'm hoping it's enough. If not, I'm running for water. And you're just going to open it, and you're just going to spritz the part of your card that's going to get embossed. You don't have to do this with your regular embossing folders. It's just these thick ones. And I think right now there are 4 that are current. I should have looked that up. I think there's 4 that are current that are the thick ones. And so I'm just going to take it, and I'm not going too close because I don't want it wet. I just want it kind of damp. And so I'm holding it maybe 6 inches away. And you can see almost immediately that the card, the paper warps. And that's what you want. You just wanted to make it more pliable, because if you leave it dry, it will crack. And you don't want that. Okay, so the other thing with the thick embossing folders is you only use one plate. One plate, right? Whatever this thing is that works with your Big Shot. I didn't know about that, about spritzing. Yeah, Karen, it's really cool. So you can use spritzing, like you could fill it with alcohol and put some drops of a re-inker in it and spritz color. But it also is great to just make it work for your thick embossing folder. So it's multi-purpose. Okay, what did I do with the folder? Oh, there it is. I threw it all the way over here. Okay, so I have it spritzed. I'm going to put it in my embossing folder here. This embossing folder is really cool because it's got different textures. So depending on where you put it in the folder, it's like you get different images, which is, I think, really cool. Again, it's stretching everything, right? So depending on where you put it, you get a different image. You get more bang for your buck, so to speak. Okay, so I have my bottom plate here. And then I'm not gonna put my plastic plate. I'm gonna put my embossing folder right on next. And then I'm only gonna do one sandwich with my plastic plate. I know it's not plastic plate. I can't think of what the official term is. You know me, I like to make up words as I go along. So we're calling that the plastic plate tonight. And it's going through. Oh, that thing is heavy. This thing, whatever this is a plate, I think. So when you pull it out, oh, you get this gorgeous image. And again, you can use the positive, or you could use the negative. Again, giving 2 totally different looks. Like one embossing folder, but honestly, the possibilities are endless, which I love. Okay, so we're just going to crease that better. Here's my example. Our first layer that we're going to do is using the Bubbles and Fizz DSP, which is another Sale-A-Bration item. This also is free with a $50 order, which ends March 31st. So let's see, tomorrow's March 1st. We have 31 days to get all of our Sale-A-Bration items that we want before we aren't able to order them anymore for free. So this piece here that I have is 3 by 5.5, and then it's getting matted on a slightly larger Whisper White paper, which is 3 1/8, so 1/8 longer or wider by 5.5. Oh, there's the back of that. Isn't that pretty? And we're just going to, ooh, I'm shaking. Cold. So that's just going to get adhered over the top. Like, oops, why does that look off? Hold on. When in doubt, lift it back up. There we go. That's better. Okay. Oops. There we go. And then that all goes on to my card front. And I'm using the negative. Do I want the, yeah, I think I want the negative. And I'm going to try and center it as best, yeah, that looks center-ish as I can. Whoops, why do I keep doing that? Okay. And then we're going to take another panel of Whisper White. This is 3 3/4 by 5. So it's slightly wider than our DSP, but slightly shorter than it. So they're kind of all offsetting the different layers. And this is what we're going to stamp our flowers on. Again, I'm using the flower from the Amazing You, which is the Sale-A-Bration item. Hi, Amy. No, don't worry about being late. I know you always have to get your girls in bed. Absolutely. Hold on. Okay, so this is our flower image. Thank you. Pretty card. I'm glad you like it. Okay, so we're going to do a masking technique. So I'm just taking a regular old Post-it here and my image that I want to do. So why a masking technique? A masking technique is when you take one image and you stamp it on like a scrap piece of paper and you cut it out. And then you're going to, as you stamp, so you're going to stamp on the card, right? Then that cut image, you're going to cover that image with and then stamp over it. So it looks like they're layered, but you're not actually stamping over it because the mask, so to speak, is catching it. Does that make sense? So I have a couple of examples. I originally was going to do pandas. Okay, so first I stamped this little panda guy, and then I covered him with a scrap piece of paper that was cut out, and then I stamped him again. So these pandas look like they're overlapping each other. I also played around with this card, but with the idea of stamping a lot of different flowers. But in the end, decided less is more. Less is best. Okay, so first I'm going to just ink up my, I re-inked it earlier to make sure there was plenty of ink in it. Ink up my stamp here, and I'm just gonna stamp on my Post-it. Okay, then I'm gonna take my super sharp snips here, and I'm just gonna cut out the image. Now I don't care about these flowers. I mean, I do, they're cute, don't get me wrong. But when it comes to cutting out, I don't have to worry about them because if they overlap a little bit, it's not that big of a deal. So I want to go as tight on that line as I can and follow it all the way around. Again, I don't want any space. I want it super flush. Okay, so I would continue la 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 la. However, we're going to do a little card magic. Voila! I already did one earlier. So I stamped it and cut out the image super tight on it using the super sharp paper snips. Okay. So we're going to, this is Memento black ink, by the way. I didn't say that. So we're going to ink up my image again. And you can always flip it over to make sure you have a good coverage. And I don't know, how about there? We're committed. Ta-da! Oh, nice and crisp, good. I re-inked it before. It was, as you can see, looking a little not dark. Okay, so that should be dry. So we're just gonna take the like the scratch flower, I don't know, the masked flower. No, that's not it either. Whatever this is. And we're just gonna cover it. I want it as perfectly covered as I can get it. And then we're just going to ink up the stamp set again, and you can again flip it over, make sure it's, you know, really well inked. And I'm going to stamp over this one, but also on my card front. A little overlap. And hopefully that overlapped. If not, we're flipping it over and doing it again. Nope, we're good. Okay, see how that worked? So then when I lift this off, if I can get it off, hold on. It's a Post-it, so it's got a little sticky on it. There we go. It's covered. See? Ta-da! And it looks like they're layered. Now this one I didn't quite, I covered that one a lot more than I had covered that one, but you could keep going if you wanted, like I did with this one. I just kept moving my my Post-it flower, and then I just kept stamping and kept stamping and kept stamping. Okay. And I just realized that I need to do it one more time because I did cut this one out because I wanted it kind of layered. Sorry, I forgot about that. So we're going to stamp that. Yep. Oops, that was loud. So then I didn't really I don't know. I kind of wanted it colored, but I kind of just wanted it shaded. So I'm using my Stampin' Blends. This is Pool Party here. And, yep, I use Pool Party. So I'm just going to start at the inside of the flower here. And I'm going to let the flower kind of decide where I want it to go darkest. So obviously I know the inside of my flower is going to be the darkest point. And then see all these like lines all over the flower? That's going to be dark points as well. So I'm not coloring in my flower. I am just sort of making different highlights on it. Like so. And then the same with this one. I know in the middle it's going to be super dark. And then, you know, all these little lines that are everywhere, those get darkened too. So that's the dark one. That's the Pool Party Dark Stampin' Blends. And then I'm just going to take the lighter one, again, Pool Party, just the light one, and just kind of bring some of that color out that I already put down, just to kind of highlight it and make it not just so, like one level, so to speak. Does that make sense? One level? You know what I mean. Ooh, it makes a scratching noise. Can you hear that? Abby says, Jaimie's doing weirdly interesting things. It feels that way, Abby. Sometimes I feel like a scientist. Oh, you know what? I forgot that around, there's like the second level of petals here. That also needs to be colored. So I'm starting with the dark, dark Stampin' Blends. Pool Party. I'm just kind of, and again, it's very artistic, so it doesn't have to be perfect. You're kind of just throwing it on. Love those colors. Hi, Lynn. Thank you. This is Pool Party. I love blues. It's so funny how you're just like attracted to some colors and you tend to use them a lot. And then other colors, you're like, oh, wow, that's right. You do exist in the universe. I tend to use a lot of blues. Bermuda Bay, I'm using a ton this season right now. However, I honestly cannot tell you, let's see here, the last time I pulled out a yellow. I'm just not a big yellow person. I don't use it very much, you know, for like the sun or something, but it's not like, ooh, I think I'm going to make a yellow card. I don't know. Do you guys all have like favorite colors that you tend to get drawn to? I forgot I have to color this flower over here that gets fussy cut out. So again, just following the lines. The other one is like purple. I'll use purple sporadically, but not very often. Blues though. I'm definitely a blue girl. Okay, and then here's the Stampin' Blends. The Stampin' Blends I personally love. I find they're very forgiving. I'm not a huge coloring fan. It's not what I was never that person to get like a Christmas or a coloring book for Christmas. That just wasn't my cup of tea. So for me, this is like super easy, no stress coloring. Blues and pinks, I'm not really a pink person, but man, I love it when I make a card. How fun. So you like blues and pinks, Amy? I do too. I think I do a lot of pinks also, now that I think about it. Okay, so this puppy's going to get fussy cut out. I'm sorry, I would have done this ahead of time, but I totally forgot that this guy gets fussy cut out. So don't mind me while I just snip away. If you ever need a good pair of scissors, I highly recommend Stampin' Up's paper snips. They are great and they're super sharp. They get the job done for sure. You do. How funny. And you don't like purples, I think, right? Aren't purples another one that you don't like? Just a reminder that Sale-A-Bration is going on. Like I said before, we are in the last month. And there are 3 new items out there right now that you can earn. The paper and the embossing folder with the stamp set bundle and a new stamp set. So we have until the end of March to get those. To the end of the March to join and take advantage of the free extra 2 stamp sets and joining. So lots going on right now, and definitely now's not the time to fall asleep. No sleeping. Okay, done. So we're going to take a slightly bigger Bermuda Bay. This is 3 7/8 by 5 1/8, and that gets matted on. Purples are definitely not my favorite. Showing off your cutting skills. I have none of these. I know, and it's very nerve-wracking. That's why I try and fussy cut ahead of time, because to do it live is really nerve-wracking. Okay, so that gets mounted on. And it's funny, like colors like Cajun Craze, I will not pick up all year, but then like come fall season, I use it so much. I don't know. Colors are funny, I suppose. Okay, so I'm just adhering this over. This is my next layer that we're creating. Like so. This guy's going to get saved because he's kind of overlap our sentiment here. Okay, speaking of sentiment. Okay, so the sentiment comes from the Perennial Birthday stamp set. The stamp set was sort of created to go with the Perennial Birthday kit, which is great and awesome. But this stamp set by itself, I am in love with. I love this huge happy birthday sentiment, which is actually what I stamped on the inside of my card. And it's got these really fun like flowers, and I'm just a sucker for good sentiments. You can always use a good sentiment. So like today blooms just for you, that's what we're going to be using. Birthday cheers all around, here's to celebrating you. So really great stamp sets. And I feel like this could get overlooked because it is meant for the kit. But I highly recommend it just for a birthday. You know, you can always use a good birthday stamp set. Always. I feel like, let's see. Yeah, birthday cards and thank you cards are probably the cards I send the most. Okay. Well, I'm going to be heat embossing this. So I'm going to take my embossing buddy here. This, if I wipe it across my cardstock, gets rid of any static so that when I sprinkle on my embossing powder, it's not going to like get all speckled. And I always like to rub it on my hand first because I find like it kind of pools and can always almost leave like a white streak on your cardstock. So I try and get the excess powder off first and then wipe it across my cardstock. That way it still looks blue. Sometimes if you use it on black, it almost turns the cardstock gray. Kathy says, I like that set and I've never noticed it before. Yeah, it's really great. And I really am loving what people are doing with these flowers and how they're coloring them in and like embossing the flowers, heat resist or embossing resist techniques. Anyways, I think it's just a good set to have. Good birthday set. Okay, so this is Versamark because we're heat embossing. So I'm just going to pick up the ink, my Versamark, and I'm going to stamp and aim for straight. This is a little tricky because it's a clear mount and I can't see. So we're going to, and I'm going kind of flush to the right. This is scary. Let's see, is that straight? I think that's straight enough. We're calling that straight enough. Right? It works. Okay, so then I'm getting my, oops, hold on. My white embossing powder. Oops. As it goes flying everywhere. There we go. And pick up my card, or my sentiment, I should say. And I'm going to sprinkle it with white embossing powder. Tap, tap, tap. So see how nicely that worked? Can you tell? There's like it's not speckled. The powder landed where the powder was supposed to go. And it's just a clean, clear look. So I'm going to take my heat tool. Be careful with your fingers because this gets ultra super hot. Oops, I got powder everywhere. And heat it up. Be careful of your fingers. I try and work from like one side and then maybe switch my fingers around. And it sort of like solidifies. I turn some powder to like a solid, and you want to make sure it cools because it is kind of liquidy. Not liquidy, no, that's not what I want to say. It's tacky, that's what I want to say. It's tacky. Okay, so I think we're good. I'm just gonna adhere this to the card front. And this is going the full width of my card, and I kind of want it overlapping my flowers just a little bit. I don't want them covering them. I just want them, let's see here. How about there? Every card will be different because where you stamp your flowers will be different every time. Oh, you know what? I didn't get my dimensionals. Hold on. Where are they? There they are. Okay, this flower gets adhered to the card front, kind of overlapping just a little bit the sentiment. And I'm using Stampin' Dimensionals. These things are great. They give just a little extra 3D, a little pop to your card. I don't know. I think I use dimensionals at least at some point in almost all my cards. I love dimensionals. And I kind of, let's see here. Like there maybe? Up a little bit? How about there? Ta-da. There we go. They came out a little different because I didn't stamp that one as low, but you could certainly fill it up like I initially intended to do with this one. I guess, you know, putting the sentiment right in the middle would have been cute of that one. And I don't know. I'm not going to throw it away. I'll throw it on some sort of a card. If you are watching and would like to have your name put in the drawing to win tonight's card, actually, I'll probably give you this one since it has the nice inside already done. Just leave a comment of some sort right now so I can draw names and you might win tonight's card. If you have any questions about any of the product that was used, feel free to get a hold of me and contact me. My email is stampin, STAMPIN, Jaimie at gmail.com. I had to think about it. It's JAIMIE. You can definitely get a hold of me if you have any questions or would like to, you know, find out more information. That's what I'm here for. And that ends tonight's tutorial. And I hope to see you next week. I'll be here, same place, same time, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on my Facebook Live. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great rest of your evening. Take care.